I want to show you one thing, and then we'll get straight into it so you can see some of the stuff that Sunil's put together with me. And let me read this to you. In Hosea, Hosea, Hosea chapter 12, verse 10. I'm going to read it to you and show you what the advantage of being under the leadership of a prophetic gift. Somebody wrote in and said, who do you think you are calling yourself a prophet? I didn't call myself a prophet at all. God did. And I can't help it if that's what he said, because the proof is there. So it's pointless getting mad and saying, well, there's no such thing as a prophet in this day and age. Of course there is. But yeah, I'm saying, what are the advantages of being under a prophetic gift and anointing? If you don't like it, get out. But if you are here to stay, then take advantage of it, because there are advantages to it. And you have the right to. There are rewards to ministering to and being ministered to by a prophet. There are rewards. Here's one of them. Hosea chapter 12 verse 10. This is the Lord speaking, have spoken by the prophets, and in so doing have multiplied visions. If you don't have vision, you're not going to get anything in life. So the advantage of being under prophetic anointing is that when he speaks and ministers, your vision multiplies. Very important that you understand the multiplication of vision means you see further. You see more. Right. And what you see, you become. You can obtain. You see the kingdom, you enter it, you inherit it. You possess it, and you inherit it. That's what Jesus said. What are you seeing right now? What are you seeing as I'm speaking to you? What are you actually catching a glimpse of? Your house being paid off? That's what I'm talking about. When I'm speaking, your vision is increasing. Because if you listen to religion or secular humanism, what will happen is your vision will diminish. Because this is what religion's done. Religion has told you it's the end of the world. So your vision is now tunneled to that point where you are just waiting for the end of the world to take place and saving a bit so you can eat when all this poverty comes. Now listen to me carefully. That's not vision. The vision I'm talking about is what you're seeing right now as I'm prophesying to you. What are you seeing? If you are seeing your car payment disappear, your children getting to college without you having to take loans, I can go on and on and on. But you say, well, Kim, what if this is not reality? It is. But it starts with vision, true God-given vision, which is what I'm talking about here. I have spoken by the prophets and have multiplied visions. And when you multiply vision, everything else multiplies. Take advantage of it today. How, Kim? See. Imagine. Don't feel guilty for imagining a good life. Good. They got their thing, what's life is good or whatever. Yes. What do they know about it? Our life is supposed to be the real good life, where we give. And we give to others and we help others. Yes. That's where you're going to be. Imagine yourself by the summer of this month being in a position where you've got so much in your net that you're going to give to somebody else and help them. Yeah. Abraham is not just blessed. God said, I'm going to bless you, and you shall become a blessing. It's not good enough to be blessed. Yeah. It's only good enough when you are a blessing to others. I don't just want for myself. Yeah. I want to give hundreds of thousands of dollars away. And I want to help human beings. And so help me God, I'll do it more than I'm doing now. This last year, this ministry gave over $1 million away. We wouldn't have dreamed of that 3 or 4 years ago. So, and I am going to tell them, because God showed off and took the credit, and he gets all the credit. I have to give you a little pep talk here, because I'm not going to let this man who has spent days researching, pour his heart out and tell you what's been prophesied, and you don't have vision. You don't have an understanding. It's for me. That's not just for Joe, somebody down the road. It's for me. Everyone that's looking at me say, this promise is for me.
This promise is for me.
7 fat years.
7 fat years.
So that when the lean years come, I will still be fat.
I will still be fat.
That's what I'm talking about. That's the Joseph vision. And that's why I'm getting so excited about it. I started very gently and nicely. But I'm sorry, I'm now at this point where I'm looking at you and saying, I want you to turn to somebody and boast and say, you call him a false prophet? Well, let me tell you something. I've heard this, that he has prophesied. And guess what? I'm debt free, and that's a promise he gave me. And God has set a table before me in the presence of my enemies.
Yes.
Hallelujah! Let me say the hallelujah again. So, thank you, choir. I love it. So here we go. Before Sunil starts, what else? He says, I've spoken. When I speak by a prophet, I multiply vision. And then he says, I have given symbols. Hear this, please. Just listen to this one thing. I have given symbols through the witness of the prophets. Now, you can just stop right there. I can tell you much, much more, but I just want you to listen before you do anything today. Before you sow your seed and say, I'm doing this first, like that lady did. She gave, and then God revealed to her the symbol. She invested, made $700 in one night. Her mother made $1,500 in one night. And listen, now they are going to purchase, 150 shares?
100,000 shares.
100,000 shares. Come on, people. This is big stuff. You can be in the same. She didn't even have a job, and money started coming in. I'm telling you this because it's the year of conquering our mountain.
Yes.
You must do it. And you will be probably joining me on top of a mountain, literally. I don't know when, but it'll happen. It's going to happen. And by that time, you'll be looking from the top of the mountain saying, I never would have believed it, but you know what? I caught a glimpse of something when Kim spoke. When the prophetic word went forth, I got vision. The vision multiplied, and so did I. Now, he says, I've given symbols through the witness of the prophets. I will share with you what a symbol is. Because you have to understand, if God gives the prophets symbols, he doesn't give them the whole thing. It's so you can be on a joyful journey of discovery. The definition of symbol, something that represents or suggests something else. Symbols often take the form of words, visual images, or gestures. Now we're going to tell you about a fabulous gesture that took place the last 24 hours, which I didn't even plan on doing, and you're going to love this. Gestures, the prophetic gestures are huge. My team have learned, most of them, to take note of a prophetic gesture and jump on it.
Yes.
In order to convey an idea. The symbol in Greek for the word, the symbol in the Greek is the word symbolon, which means token, you ready? Or, and watchword. Watchword. There's one word. There's one thing you got to watch.
Wow.
You don't need the whole thing. That's the joy of faith, because when you use your faith on one word that you watch, you perceive what's in that word, that one token.
Come on.
And suddenly he reveals it to you. There's stories throughout the earth about this. People, anyway. So I just wanted to give you that so that you could be ready when Sunil shows you these things at a point. God's going to speak to us. We're going to sow into the kingdom of God. We're going to say the reward of the prophet is whatever he's prophesied. We're going to start by giving to God, and then I'm asking him to open your eyes like he opened this lady's eyes and many others, and show you where, even if it's a few cents, even if it's a few dollars, to invest that, and you watch what will happen. Okay? Thank you. Sunil, let's go.
Thank you, Kim. It's such a powerful, powerful word that Kim gave, and I really want you to make note and remember what he's saying. I've heard Kim teach before, and I love this teaching. What God reveals to man, it's for man. It's for you to use. It's a tool. It's a strategy, a divine strategy given to you so that you can conquer your circumstances, conquer your crises. Just think about this. Imagine back in biblical days when Isaac, he's surrounded by famine, surrounded by adversity, and he was going to take an action, but then insight was given, no, you need to stay here and sow in this piece of land. That was divine insight, divine revelation given to a man, and he did it, and he got 100-fold that same year. Same year. Isaac used what was given to him, the prophetic revelation given to him. He used it, and he prospered. You have to use what's given to you. You have to use the prophetic insight given, if a prophecy is given, it's for you to use so that you can establish the kingdom of heaven on earth.
That's right.
And I think sometimes people forget the value in that, of using what God has given. I'm actually reminded of a story in the Bible where we just had Christmas. And remember the Christmas story where wise men came to Herod and said, "Where's the baby? Or who is this that is to be born?" And they knew something. They read something. And King Herod, what did he do? He actually called his scribes together and told them to go back and look at the prophetic code and tell me what's happening. And they came back and said, "It's in Bethlehem." Do you realize that prophecy was there the whole time, but even the king of Israel, no one paid attention to it. They didn't read it. They didn't study it. But when they studied it, there it was before their eyes.
Yeah.
There is the star. There's where we need to go. It's up to you to utilize what God has given to you. I want to remind you of something so you can be one step ahead as you approach these next 7 years. Prophetic insight and revelation has been given to us, and we know that great things are ahead of us. And I want to remind you about something, so to encourage you. Think back to 2006 and the auto industry in 2006. What was the condition? It was massively in debt. The auto industry was coming to ruins. People were getting laid off all the time. And an amazing prophecy was uttered on April 8th, 2006, Detroit, Michigan. And this is what it says. "And they would mock the discoverers. They would mock the inventors. Who is Ford? Let me tell you," God says, "Ford will be revived. It shall be revived in a way that shall shock the motor industry, and they shall say, 'Where did this all come from?'" Where did this all come from? And God said, "I will remember when my warriors gathered around the prophetic voice and shouted the praises." Ford will be revived. This was in 2006. Then again in 2009 from Seattle, Washington, when this prophet prophesied that Ford Motor Company would not go down, it would be a sign, Ford will be a sign to America that I will salvage its heritage. And I will take cars from this nation and I will send them throughout the earth. And you'll be known as America the Great again. So we see how the connection between Ford and America, how Ford is a symbol for America, and we know what's about to happen. We've seen since then, Ford has been revived. Ford's stock price was $1.76 in 2009. You know what it is now. And I want to make a mention about an observation here. Do you realize the prophecy given in 2006 states, they would mock the discoverers, they would mock the inventors. Inventors, invention, discovery. That word is still ready to come to pass. Yeah. Invention is still on the horizon. You have not missed out. It's still to come, to come into complete fulfillment. I want to play something for you. It's a recent news story about Ford, and be encouraged. This is from the depths of what we saw in the 2006 in those years to what it is now. Please play the clip.
Ford Motor wraps up 2011 on a high note. U.S. vehicle sales of its Ford brand topped 2 million, the first time any auto brand has done so since 2007.
With more technology and even better quality.
Ford CEO Alan Mullally's message at a launch event for the newly redesigned Ford Fusion sedan was direct. His company is profitable and growing.
We have committed to 12,000 new jobs in our U.S. manufacturing facilities, and we are on plan to have them filled by year end.
Ford's expansion comes after several years of profitability and marks a dramatic change in an industry that shed tens of thousands of jobs in the last decade. But under new contracts ratified in 2011 with the United Auto Workers Union, the big three Detroit manufacturers, Ford, General Motors, and Chrysler, are all bringing more people back to U.S. assembly lines. Bob King is the president of the UAW. He says some shuttered facilities in the U.S. will reopen under the new agreements, and more cars will leave the U.S. for foreign buyers.
For many years, there was not much export of vehicles to other parts of the world. All three of the companies will be doing major exporting of vehicles from the U.S.
Incredible news. Does that look like an auto industry that has no jobs, that is in ashes? Not at all. It's recovering. It's creating jobs. As you just saw, thousands of jobs are being created now. The economy is turning around. The auto industry is coming out of its ashes. And the recent article from Reuters states Ford posts best sales in 4 years. Ford says its U.S. vehicle sales topped 2 million. This is the first time since 2007. Now, what I want to point out, and I'm just actually reminded now of something awesome that happened when we were in Israel. One of the highlights of my trip when we were in Israel was all the testimonies of you warriors who joined us, and they would come up to us and they would tell testimonies of how they were blessed through Prophet Kim's ministry and the insight that was given and how they acted upon it. And I'm remembering about a precious partner who came to us and stated that he heard what Kim prophesied about Ford, and he invested. Now, what's interesting about this is he had a medical condition where he could no longer work, and he actually had to resign from his job, or he had to not work because he couldn't work because he had a medical condition. But he told us that he was so happy because he's recovering from his medical condition, and he went and testified that because of Kim's prophecy about Ford, he invested. And he actually made more money out of the Ford investment than if he had worked for 3 years. Do you realize the prophetic provision, how the provision that was provided in that prophetic insight, and how this man was preserved from enduring really hard financial crises because he acted on insight that was given? And that's what we're trying to tell you, is this is a precious gift, treasure, given to us, prophetic insight. When God reveals something to us, it's for you to act upon it. Earlier, Kim mentioned about symbols, and I want to play something for you so that we can understand. I want to stir within you the prophetic gift where you can look for yourselves and see where is God in this situation so you can act upon it and invest for yourself. Remember symbols. Kim's talked about symbols. An amazing symbol was given in April of 2011. At the time, it sounded ridiculous, and you're about to see the actual prophecy when Kim prophesied it. Even he didn't know what he was prophesying about. But since then, it's become crystal clear. Let's go ahead and play the prophecy and come back. This is from April 26, 2011. Play the prophecy.
You know what I'm hearing? I'm hearing the Spirit saying, haircut. Now, don't laugh at me, please, because I'm not going to have a haircut. The haircut will bring about a change in the economy of Europe. That's all I'm hearing. He says the haircut. And the euro shall fall somewhat, and the dollar, there shall be strength brought to it. And God says, I will move into Europe. And certain nations shall say, we are crippled, bankrupt. But God says, because of the haircut, there will be a change in the economy of Europe, but it will be a positive for the United States dollar. The haircut. I have absolutely no clue what I'm saying. But God's in charge. My dear warriors, God is in charge.
Right there you saw the prophecy about a haircut. And remember, we talked about symbols. At the time, we had no idea what it was that a haircut meant. And I just want to remind you of that prophecy. It said, the haircut will bring about a change in the economy of Europe. That's all I'm hearing. He says, the haircut. And the euro shall fall somewhat, and the dollar, there shall be strength brought to it. I will move into Europe, and certain nations shall say, we are crippled and bankrupt. But God says, because of the haircut, there will be a change in the economy of Europe, and it will be a positive for the United States dollar. A haircut. We're going to put up on the screen so you could see. After that, nobody knew what a haircut was, but then after that, on the cover of a magazine of Barron's, we're going to see right there. Look at that. That's the cover after that prophecy was given, and it says, Greece needs a haircut. And there's a man literally getting a haircut. So we see how when the prophecy was uttered, we didn't know what it was, but it was a symbol. And then the code-breaking team and everyone, we were searching for what does that mean? And then shortly thereafter, a month or two after that, suddenly there's a picture on a magazine, and it's a man, a Greek man, and it says, Greece needs a haircut. What's happened since then? Well, as you've probably seen in the news, it dominated the news for the last several months, still in the news today. Greece went through some really tough times, and they needed to be bailed out once again. And they called on debt holders to voluntarily take a haircut. In other words, forgive Greece a certain percentage of the debt that's owed them and actually take a haircut on what's actually owed them. We're going to play a clip, and you're going to see a recent clip, and you're going to see what's the latest news about this haircut. Go ahead and play the clip.
Images of leaders meeting to resolve the Eurozone's spiraling debt crisis. But the summit's perhaps boldest decision was made behind closed doors. In a meeting after midnight, key Eurozone leaders, including Angela Merkel and Nicolas Sarkozy, met with the bank's top lobbyist, convincing him to accept a voluntary 50% write-down on banks' holding of Greek debt, an agreement that will cost the banks around 100 billion euros. Many say this large haircut is needed to avoid a Greek default. It's crucial for the banks to volunteer to the write-down. Otherwise, it might have led to a so-called credit event and chaos in the market.
By having voluntary participation, they avoided triggering the bankruptcy of Greece, and Greece has said it is in a bankruptcy. So we've avoided this kind of scenario.
The bank's write-downs are aimed to reduce Greek debt from more than 160% of GDP to around 120% by 2020.
There you saw it, how it's all coming clear now. At the time, we didn't know what it was. Kim prophesied, God released it through Kim and released it to us, a word, a symbol, haircut. And now we're seeing how all this is coming to pass. As you know, the euro has come down because the Greek situation, the situation in Greece has caused such stress on the euro. It has to come down, and the dollar has strengthened in comparison to the euro, just as was prophesied in April of 2011. Now, remember the use of symbols. I don't know if, Kim, now's a good time to talk about something that just happened in the last 24 hours that is just amazing, actually, simply amazing, and we're going to see how symbols again come into play about this.
Yeah, as I'm listening to you, you explain to people that it's one word for haircut, which we didn't know, and then it exploded. Everybody understood what it's all about. Still things happening. The one thing I saw many years ago, and I wish we had that original clip, it was when I was in Pastor Jason Guerrero's church, excuse me, in California, and I started prophesying about bugs and all this stuff, and it was amazing because I really absolutely had no clue of what I was talking about years ago, and said out of this there will be a relief to the energy crisis and da-da-da-da. And then I said the big E. That was just one word, E. I used the word big. Everybody jumped on and said it's got to be, what did they say?
Ethanol.
Ethanol. Later on they said it could be something else, whatever. And people got a little uptight with me, some people, and said, why aren't you telling us some more? What are you trying to do? I cannot tell you what I cannot see. I just heard that. But if you follow the prophecies, which a lot of you do and a lot of you don't do, you just have to go onto our website and just follow them and look at what we're saying. There's a pattern. God reveals a little more and a little more. We got to the place when I was in San Jose, and I started prophesying under the Spirit about Einstein.
Yes.
And I'd not studied it. Look, people, I'd love to take the credit, but I'm not that bright. I wasn't good at science. I wasn't good at math. I don't look into these things. And it just comes out of me. And when it comes out, half the time I'm scratching my head saying, what is that all about? And so they have to educate me. And so nothing seemed to make sense when I said that about Einstein. Realizing God was speaking about a time. Remember, this is all about time. Time. What time is he talking about? Now, everybody wants things like this. We want it now. We got a debt crisis. We need it now. But God knows better than us, and He knows that there's a crisis going on, and He knows when it's going to come to an end. So He gives us signs. He gives us symbols with those signs to show us the period that this is going to take place. Okay? If you understand that and you follow what Codebreakers shows you, you'll know that it's time for even eruptions in the earth and certain wars that are going on, earthquakes, signs of certain things, and you're seeing them manifest now. So we're going to speak about that, big E, and then let's speak about gestures. When I was in my garden, seeing the also symbols, seeing the leaf and the lion, people started putting it together. Thank you for all of you that are taking that on and saying, look, well, let's work out what this is, so that each one can be informed. And so and then there's gestures, as I said. I will do something sometimes under the Spirit, and then it'll be a sign of things to come. I needed a car. Okay, my desire was to purchase a Ford, but considering that so many of my team members and people that have followed me are buying Fords, I decided I'm going to go and buy something really fun and small. And because when I was young, I used to drive these cars. It's a Fiat, F-I-A-T. I think you've seen them before. They're an Italian car. They're very economical, and they're not very expensive. And for some reason yesterday, I just had it in me. I'm going to go down to the Fiat dealership, and I'm going to buy one. Not cash, of course. I had to get a loan, but I'm still going to get one. So I went down to buy one over a short period of time, and when I got there, this cute little car was there, and I told my staff this morning, I'm coming with my new little car, and I'm going to zip into the office parking lot, and I want you all to be waiting downstairs for me. Well, Sunil didn't know what the car was. Now, please take note of this. I'm not just telling you this for fun. Didn't know what the car was. I came flying in there, hooting the hooter, and, well, what do you call it? Honking the horn. Honking the horn, yeah. And beep, 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 and I had the flashes going, and it's a cute little car. And they were all laughing at me because, anyway, so I climb out this little car, and Hannah specifically laughing because she's seeing me in this very small car. Anyway, so I climbed out the car, and Sunil said, somebody said, is that what do you call those cars? The smart car. Mm-hmm. So, somebody, and Sunil asked, what is this? So I said, it's a Fiat. It's a Italian car. And when I was young, in my teens, 17, 18, I used to drive them. And I had my first accident in one, by the way, where the car rolled 5 times and still survived. So obviously I love the car. There's a nostalgic feeling with it. But I got it, and of course Libby, my daughter, is just crazy about it, and she thinks one day she's going to drive it. But here's the deal. Show them the car, the little car I just bought. Okay, there you see it from behind. Cute colors. It's called a Fiat Gucci. It's got the Gucci colors on it, and it's not very expensive, and it's very reasonable, and just love the little car. Zipping everywhere. So Sunil says to me, wait a bit.
As I saw the car, and it was
you remembered something?
I suddenly remembered something, and I haven't even thought about this in literally decades, actually. And I thought to myself, I think Fiat actually made or had something to do with the vehicle called Firepoint. And I was questioning myself, and so surely it can't be. So I quickly came back to the office, this is just a few minutes ago, quickly researched and found, and go ahead and show them the picture. That is a Fiat Firepoint from 1994. It actually never made it to the market. It is a design car. It was in the designs, it was in the works to come in, but actually what they said was the bubble design, they didn't think the mass market would like it, so they actually didn't bring it to the mass market. But the key is,
well, this is what I find so interesting. Okay, we can play around with that and say, oh, well, that's coincidence or it's God or whatever. But you know what? That's a gesture. Right. Today we want to speak about Firepoint. Yesterday, and I'm one of those procrastinators when it comes to cars. I don't like to buy cars all the time. I like to drive a car and get used to it and drive it for years. And I just had this thing in my head, and we were so busy yesterday, and Leanne had to be taken to the doctor again. and she's got strep throat, but the doctor said this may happen for a few months where they get used to the bugs here and stuff. And so it was a busy day, but I said, I'm going down to that dealership. I got there 8, 9 at night, and they were waiting there for me and to buy this little car. And so it was very rushed, and I almost at one stage said to him, you know what, let's just leave it for another time. But I felt that I should do it. So I went and got this little Fiat, and he comes and says, Kim, I didn't know this, but in the back of my head, there was a Fiat Firepoint, and which never we looked up and wasn't released. The thing that I'm feeling is the timing.
Right.
Yeah.
I think we're right on it now.
Yes.
Even just that little thing, that little about the car, there's something about that, because to deal with Firepoint today and to find that out, to buy the car, bring it here, I just feel like that God's trying to say something. The oracular intimation, the humor behind God saying, please just calm down, everybody, just smile, relax. It's going to come out. The truth's going to come out about Firepoint, and you're going to be able to invest. So I felt it would be good to share that with you, because it's going to happen speedily. Because it's a fast little car, little zippy car. So anyway, that's very interesting.
That's a key word, speedily. It's very good. I want to, speaking of timing, just to go off of what Kim's saying and how there's a time and a season for everything. And we're going to play to you the prophecy from January 13, 2010, from Munster, Indiana, which is a suburb of Chicago. Now, I want you to pay close attention, because remember, there's a time and a season for everything. And you're going to get insight. This is one of those instances where we have to show you the video so we can actually see the context of what was prophesied. And it's going to shed some light, illuminate some things for you, and actually help you, encourage you as you go forward and try to find what is it that God has for you to invest in. Go ahead and play the prophecy from January 13th, 2010, Munster, Indiana.
And God said, you shall have a secret thing regarding the internet. For the Spirit of God says, by the time he gets to his teens, there will be an invention that shall then enable him to bring the gospel to every single human being on the face of my earth. For those that want to invest, hear these words. For when it does come, they shall say, it is not going to be of anything. Firepoint. Firepoint. Remember it. When it comes of those words, it shall be something that will accelerate the ability and in technology for us to minister throughout the earth within seconds and get into homes without the need of a television. I've seen it. I know it sounds completely crazy, but I've seen it. And information, Daniel says, that information, man's knowledge shall increase. Men shall go to and fro across the face of the earth, and knowledge will increase. And that's exactly what's happened. Within minutes, in seconds, we can transfer one file across the earth. Knowledge is going across the earth. God said, this is just the beginning.
Powerful prophecy. That right there is one of the very first times that the word Firepoint came out, and Kim prophesied about this phenomena that's going to burst called Firepoint. Now, I want to reread that one more time. Firepoint, remember, for those that want to invest, hear these words. For when it does come, they shall say, it is not going to be of anything. Firepoint. Remember it. When it comes of those words, it will be something that will accelerate the ability and a technology for us to minister throughout the earth within seconds and get into homes without the need of television. I've seen it. I know it sounds completely crazy, but I've seen it. And information, Daniel said, man's knowledge shall increase. Men shall go to and fro across the face of the earth, and knowledge will increase. And that's exactly what's happened. Within minutes, in seconds, we could transfer one file across the earth. Knowledge is going across the earth. God says, this is just the beginning, for my prophetic word shall go throughout the earth. Now, we see right there, acceleration, how massive amounts of knowledge is going to increase, and knowledge will be transferred, file will be transferred quickly. It's something new. But what was the beginning, at the very beginning of that clip you just saw, you see the context. He's actually actually prophesying to the grandson of the pastor there at that church, Pastor Muncie. And he actually said, by the time you're a teenager, this new technology will be established. Do you
So in other words, it can happen before he's a teenager. It would have been established.
It will be established by then.
How old was he? He was 6, 7, 8?
He looks
7?
like 6 or 7 in that video, and this is 2010. So, if he's 6 or 7, let's pretend he's 6. 7 years.
Pretend. Let's pretend he's 10.
So what the key is, though, is this. There's a time and a season for everything. There's a window of opportunity. And the prophecy stated, by the time he's a teenager, it will be established. So, we can look with great fervor now as you code break, and you look, and you try to find what investment opportunity that God wants you to invest in as you're led by the Spirit, and you can look for clues and find where is it, and act upon it, and invest into something that could literally allow you to conquer your mountain and death to debt, where you can wipe away your debt instantly. With that in mind, I want to also talk about other signs that have come out recently. Signs in the science world that's just rocked the science world, shaken them. And it's signs given prophetically. Years ago, prophecy was uttered. We need to look for this sign, and when you see this sign, this is what's going to happen. I want to read to you a powerful prophecy, and we're going to put it up on the screen. It's from San Jose, December 31st, 2005.
We must just tell the people this is related to
Yes.
Firepoint, energy, light. Please take note of this as you listen to what Sunil says and is put together so that you can connect the dots. Today, something unusual happened. We found out about the word Firepoint related to a vehicle that I bought. It may sound silly, but it's all connected to this great thing that's going to be breaking forth very quickly, and so that you can know where to invest. I cannot tell you, but what he's about to share with you now is something I got about Einstein that is actually taking place right now, and I believe this is the beginning of it.
Yes, powerful. Indicating time and season. Let's go ahead and put up the prophecy so that people can read along with this. This is from December 31st, 2005, San Jose, California. Some shall say this is an Einsteinian craze, an Einsteinian craze, but it shall come from something that Einstein was discovering and bringing forth, but before his time.
Therefore, I had to remove him.
Yes.
This is the time where discovery shall bring a new source of energy. This is the time when it shall bring a new source of energy, and shall start in this nation. Do not say, Einstein, what about God? God said, and he's telling him what he said, now I worked wonders, but now some of the theories shall become fact. And God said, it shall be so surprising that people shall say, what shall we do? America, no deficit. America, no deficit. Just watch how all these things are connected in this one prophecy about no deficit. I mean, we're in a place now where it's that's literally impossible. Yeah. But the speed of light, please listen to what I'm saying. The speed. Go ahead, Sunil.
Recently, powerful news came out that shook the science world. Findings when they conducted an experiment. You're going to see it right now. Go ahead and play the news clip, and we'll come back and talk about the details. It's powerful.
Amid all the mysteries of the universe, the puzzle of how energy and matter interact in space, one thing has always seemed pretty clear, that light is the fastest thing around. Well, every so often, science gets a very big shock. In an underground laboratory in Italy, researchers can't quite believe what they're seeing. They've recorded tiny particles fired from another lab 400 miles away, arriving sooner than expected. Sooner, in fact, than a beam of light would have done. What's so extraordinary about these findings is that they seem to challenge the foundation of our understanding of how the universe works. It was Albert Einstein, a century ago, who worked out that nothing could, or should, go faster than light. Well, these measurements could be wrong, or something unexpected is distorting the results, or it really is possible for light to be overtaken. The results were announced by scientists at CERN, the huge lab at Geneva. They now want others to check their findings, to hunt for possible mistakes. But everyone's also wondering if something that seems totally impossible may actually be what's happening.
If this result is true, it would mean that we'd have to fundamentally rethink the way that the universe works. Because if you have things that can travel faster than the speed of light, it's not just space that's affected, it's time that's affected too.
So did Einstein get it wrong? His famous theory explained the connection between energy and mass, the bedrock of modern physics. But it all depends on light travelling at the highest speed possible in the universe. That may still prove to be right, but today no one can be sure. David Schuckman, BBC News.
Wow. Good job. That's it. Come on, man. And he said, God announced this in 2005. He said, he said I had to take him. Where was that? I saw it earlier. Oh, he said that Einstein was discovering something that Einstein was discovering and bringing forth, but before his time. Therefore, I had to remove him. Now, God always takes the credit for receiving somebody from earth to heaven, but he's saying it was the wrong time. Remember, I read to you early on in Ecclesiastes, everything in its time is beautiful. Everything outside of its time is ugly. And so, even though they're not sure if this is altogether correct, you at least can have this information that as it develops and investment opportunities begin, that's when you jump on it. Because this is going to go much further. But it was spoken by me, by the Spirit of God, years ago.
Yes.
In 2005, everybody said, well, what's this all about? That's crazy. Well, now, look at what you just saw. Connect this to FirePoint. Connect this to light. He's going to share something about this. And take note of one word. I'm going to do a little test here to see if any of you can pick up the word that is going to be a company that you're going to be able to invest in. Listen to him now. Already God's giving us something. It's a company you're going to be able to invest in. It's going to be connected to the FirePoint discovery. Just bear with me, okay? Sunil's going to reach you about this, about the speed of speed of light, okay? Then you just, if you can find that one word, I'll tell you what it is. But see how prophetic you are. There's one word you're going to find there that's actually going to lead you to FirePoint.
Powerful.
So we want to talk about this new computer light.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to recap for you what you just saw and how it will change everything. You notice the equation, capital E equals mc squared. We all studied it in physics. Capital E, big E, equals mc squared. The c in that equation is the speed of light. Einstein used that because that is the constant. He stated that there's nothing faster than the speed of light, or that's what he revealed publicly. There's nothing faster than the speed of light. So scientific theory of physics for the last several decades, the theory is built on this premise that there is nothing faster than the speed of light. Now what's happened in the news is this. They did a test from France and Italy, and you recognize that. A Fiat is an Italian car. In Italy, when they measured a particle that left France and came to Italy, and they measured the time, they realized it actually reached here in Italy faster than the speed of light. And it has shocked the scientific community. And people are wondering, this cannot be true because it challenges everything they knew. This cannot be true. Now, think about the prophecy, what it stated, and the actual words that were used. Some shall say this is an Einsteinian craze, but it shall come from something that Einstein was discovering and bringing forth, but before his time. It's powerful that Einstein was thinking of something, and they're calling it a craze. And we're seeing massive debate right now. In fact, what they're trying to do now is they want another lab to reproduce those same results. But apparently there's only 3 labs in the entire Earth that can do this. And the other 2 labs need funding so that they can get the equipment to do this kind of test to verify it. But the lab that came up with this test has now proven it over and over again that this particle actually is traveling faster than the speed of light. And it's a sign. What did the prophecy state? The sign said, "This is the time where discovery shall bring a new source of energy." So we see another indication of time and season, that this is the time, something new, a new source of energy. This equation being challenged, the fact that something is traveling faster than light will rewrite everything that they thought. They'll have to reevaluate everything, and quite possibly they will invent something new. A new source will come out. Now, a powerful prophecy was given in Long Island, New York, about a new computer that has a speed greater than lightning. Interesting word, lightning. Speed greater than lightning, faster than lightning. Isn't it powerful, the prophecy that was given? Let's go ahead and play that, and we're going to come back and see something else. But let's just play just the prophecy alone and come back.
There's a whole new system that's being raised up, says the Spirit. A whole brand new computer that has a speed greater than lightning. People shall say, no, this is more evil. God said, it's my doing. This computer and this whole technology shall reach the entire earth. Every being on the face of the earth shall be reached by this ludicrous, they call it ludicrous speed. And it shall be possible for men and women in India, third world countries, to hear the gospel in seconds.
Did you hear what was prophesied? This is 2008, April 20th, 2008, Long Island, New York. A whole brand new computer that has a speed greater than lightning.
Can I say something here?
Yes.
Just so everybody knows, the wording may even not be correct. Even when I'm prophesying, I don't have all the right words. There'll probably be another word for this computer. Okay. So just remember, when I prophesy, I'll say a whole brand new computer. Well, it probably is, but it's going to be called something else. That's why I'm giving you this clue in that whole prophecy, that anybody catch one word, and that's one word you've got to keep your eye on. Maybe you did get it, maybe you didn't. Anybody get it yet? Okay, nobody got it. Thanks for my prophetic staff. Go ahead.
The prophecy states, a whole brand new computer that has a speed greater than lightning. People shall say, no, this thing is evil. God says, it's my doing. This computer and this whole technology shall reach the entire earth. Every being on the face of the earth shall be reached by this ludicrous.
That's the word.
They call it ludicrous speed. And it shall be possible for men and women in India, third world countries, to hear the gospel in seconds. Ludicrous speed.
Okay. The word is ludicrous, first of all. So if you did get it, that's just keep your eye on that. Write it down. These are very serious things. I mean, I'm being, I'm joking around and stuff, but it's serious. The thing is, people may say, well, we have computers today, we have the internet. This is not, what I caught a glimpse of was something completely different, where there wouldn't even be a tangible screen with glass and whatever they use today. Oh, no, it's not glass. What do you use today? Yeah. But it's something completely different. I cannot tell you in words what it is, but it's something that it's far greater than this now. And I really honestly believe that FirePoint and this speed of light, this whole brand new technology that is about to emerge, connected to the word ludicrous, is what you must get ready to invest into now. That's all I can tell you. If you're frustrated and saying, give us more, it will come. But now's the time to really use your eyes, your spiritual eyes, your spiritual senses, to pray and say, just like that lady. Yeah. I read you the whole thing. Before we do anything else, he's got other things to share, but let's think about this for a minute. God wants to help people. I saw a movie once where a guy invested in a no, it wasn't Boeing, it was the other one, McDonnell Douglas, is it? Yeah. And before it even started, and just invested and made these millions and millions of dollars, and had no clue what he was investing in, just took something that came to him. It's the same kind of thing, guys. Listen to me. Good. we have a secret here. We have a secret weapon. We have a weapon to get wealth. This lady that made that money overnight and then continued to make money from this little investment, she took the clues, the symbols, and began to invest in them and made this and became prosperous, getting out of debt. But what she did was, she said, look, I want to be debt free. I don't even want to work. I want to make money without even working, so that I can move into a whole brand new. Some of you sitting out there saying, I'm tired of working for somebody. I want to run my own business. I want to run my own whatever. I'm stuck in this job. You don't have to be. Listen to me. I told you early on, what God is giving you is vision. Now, what I want you to do is envision what you want to see happen this year and in the next 7 years.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because if you can grab it, you can put it in your mind. Think about what you'd like to see. And then do what the one lady did. There were a few of them that did this already, by the way. You're going to first and foremost sow now in an offering. You come before God, all of us, before you do anything. Don't do anything yet, because we're going to pray together. And we're going to sow and say, to the kingdom first. I'm sowing, I'm giving, because I know that God's going to open up my eyes, extend my vision, and give me the opportunity to invest so that I can be completely debt-free. Most people in religious thinking or mentality, most people think like this. They say, I want God to drop the money into my lap. I want somebody to write a big check for me. It's not going to happen. It may happen to one or two of you, but that's not how it works. I believe that God wants the land to be fruitful for you. He wants to yield. He wants the earth to yield to you and you to be debt free. So I believe